Good evening, everyone. This is our Sutta discussion time. Today, I'm going to share with you this special sutra called, in Pali language, it is called Vimuttayatana Sutta. Vimuttayatana Sutta, uh, which belong to numerical chapter, or we can say Anguttara Nikaya. When it comes to in English, uh, liberation, it is it describes about 5 way of liberation. There are 5 methods to get rid of suffering. Uh, before I start the discussion, I would like to share an example. Uh, let's think if someone comes to you and asks, there is a nice lake, would you like to take a bath? What do you say at this moment? If someone invite you to take a bath in a nice lake, would you like not?
Yes, I dive right in.
Yeah. You like, yeah. It depends. Yeah. Sometimes, yeah. When we consider about the lakes, they are normally in lakes there are many beaches. I mean, there may be so many places that we can immerse and get take a bath uh, in the water. Uh, in the same way, when we follow the teaching of the Buddha, people understand in different ways because their level of intelligence is different uh, from someone to another one. So their uh, understanding level is different, their knowledge is different. So in this sutta, it describes how people can understand the teaching, uh, what is the most suitable way for them to realize the teaching of the Buddha. So in this sutta, Buddha describes uh, spiritual practitioners. Uh, there are 5 bases of liberation by means of which, if a spiritual practitioner dwells heedful, ardent, and resolute, his unliberated mind is liberated. His undestroyed chains are utterly destroyed. Uh, and he reaches the as yet unreached, unsurpassed security from bondage. What are those 5? So there are 5 ways to get rid of suffering. But a spiritual practitioner should behave with the purpose of understanding the teaching. So when he follow, he should act like this. How he should be? He should dwell heedful, ardent, and resolute. Is that clear? So that kind of spiritual practitioner will understand this teaching. Otherwise, he cannot. So, the person like that, there are 5 ways. The first step is Buddha says, here spiritual practitioners, the teacher or fellow monk in the position of a teacher teaches the Dhamma to a spiritual practitioner. So, some person is teaching to someone. That person may be a good teacher, or that person has a good quality of teaching. Like that, he has ability to teach after he reading, or he has heard someone else. So he has enough ability to teach. So when someone is listening to that teaching, he will be understand. Uh, he will be able to understand what he is teaching. So he is purposefully paying his attention to that teaching uh, continuously. He with the concentrated mind, he is listening. So while he is listening, he can understand the teaching. So Buddha explains, in whatever way the teacher or the follower monk in the position of a teacher teaches the Dhamma to the bhikkhu. Bhikkhu means a monk, or we can say spiritual practitioner. In just that way, he experiences inspiration in the meaning and inspiration in the Dhamma. As he does so, joy arises in him. So this is the feeling in our. It describes, this is the feeling in our the mental or in our mental body. We can say the mental subject aspect of our experiences. It is the inner feeling, not to the physical feeling. It describes the internal feeling. So as he does so, joy arises in him. When he is joyful, rapture arises. For one with a rapturous mind, the body becomes tranquil. One tranquil in body feels pleasure. For one feeling pleasure, the mind becomes concentrated. So this is the first basis of liberation. So when he does so, finally, what happened to him? His unliberated mind is liberated. His undestroyed taints are utterly destroyed. And he reaches as yet unreached, unsurpassed security from bondage. So when someone is mindfully listening to the teaching, he will be able to understand the teaching. When he focusing his mind to the teaching, what happened to his mentality, how he get the mental experience. So that is the first step. So someone can understand while he is listening to someone. For that purpose, they should have a keen attention on that. Now let's go to the second step. Sometimes people, but this is the most important step. Again, Buddha explained, again, neither teacher nor fellow monk in the position of a teacher teaches the Dhamma to the bhikkhu. Bhikkhu, or we can say spiritual practitioner, but he himself teaches the Dhamma to others in detail as he heard it and learned it. So it is very important, after listening to the teaching of the Buddha, it is better to discuss with someone else. So now, as elders, you are in front of me, you are in front of someone who is guidance. So after learning this teaching, it is better to teach someone else. While you are teaching, describing someone else, your knowledge is increasing. Your knowledge become very sharp and sharp. So it is very clear and good method to realize the teaching of the Dhamma and keep that wisdom, keep that knowledge in our mind. So Buddha explained, while someone is doing this teaching, while someone is teaching the teaching of the Buddha to someone else, what happens, as he does so, again joy arises in him. When he is joyful, rapture arises. For one with a rapturous mind, the body becomes tranquil. One tranquil in body feels pleasure. For one feeling pleasure, the mind becomes concentrated. So after that, what he happened, uh, after following this method, his unliberated mind is liberated. His undestroyed defilements are utterly destroyed. Finally, he attains the bliss of Nibbana. So this is the second method. As third step, Buddha again suggests to spiritual practitioners, and Buddha teach how spiritual practitioners understand the teaching. Sometimes the two steps which I explained before not familiar to everyone. There may be other methods to teach to someone else, to understand someone else. So Buddha explains when it comes to third step, again, neither teacher nor fellow monk in the position of a teacher teaches the Dhamma to a spiritual practitioner, nor does he himself teaches the Dhamma to others in detail as he heard or as he learned. So now at this time, he is not following these two steps. He is not going to listening continuously someone else, and also he is not going to teach someone else. So as the third step, what he is doing, but he recites the Dhamma in details as he heard it and learned it. He recite so that he can hear himself to his ears. So like we do when we recite the Loving Kindness Sutra, so we recite loudly. There may be so many sutras in the text. So when we recite loudly, it helps to calm our mind. And also we can understand how the words are creating, what is the content in it. So it is important not only listening, not only teaching to someone else, and also it is important to recite loudly so that we can concentrate our mind. That's why we chant sutras as an example, like Loving Kindness Sutras. So in whatever way the bhikkhu recites, or bhikkhu or spiritual practitioner recite Dhamma in details as he heard it, as he learned, in just that way, in relation to the teaching of the Buddha. He experiences inspiration in the meaning and inspiration in the Dhamma. Here, inspiration in the inspiration in the Dhamma means there is a combination, the cause and effect. What is the meaning and what is the effect? Here, Dhamma means the effect, cause and effect. So that is how he understands. So there may be a person, he can completely realize the teaching of the Buddha, the reality of the nature, while he is reciting. So when he does so, again, joy arises in him. When he is joyful, rapture arises. For one with a rapturous mind, the body becomes tranquil. One tranquil in body feels pleasure. For one feeling pleasure, the mind becomes concentrated. So finally he is able to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Again, Buddha discuss another steps, because there may be people, the previous 3 steps are not going to work for them, but this step may be more helpful to them. What is this step? Again, neither teacher nor fellow monk in the position of the teacher teaches the Dhamma to a spiritual practitioner, nor does he teach the Dhamma to others in details as he heard it and learned it, nor does he recite the Dhamma in details as he heard it and as he learned it, but he ponders, examines, and mentally inspects the Dhamma as he has heard it and as he learned. So here what he does, he mindfully observe in the content of the sutra or the teaching. As an example, I would say in Pali there is 2 words called Nama, Rupa, 2 words. So when this word is heard someone else, he is going to think, what is Nama? So he may understand the Nama means, we say, mental or subjective aspect of our experience. Mental or subjective experience of our aspect. So those are intangible. Okay, those are intangible, like sad and the happiness and the emotional experience. Kind of emotional experience are categorized into this form called Nam. So that person mindfully try to divide it, and by dividing and observe what is inside, and he tries to go to the deeper level of examination. So in whatever way the bhikkhu ponders, the spiritual practitioner ponders, examines, and mentally inspect the Dhamma as he heard and as he learned it. In just that way, in relation to that Dhamma, he experiences inspiration in the meaning and inspiration in the Dhamma. So when he does so, again what happens? Joy arises in him. When he is joyful, rapture arises. For one with the rapturous mind, the body becomes tranquil. For one one tranquil in body feel pleasure. For one feeling pleasure, the mind becomes concentrated. So finally, what happened to him? His unliberated mind is liberated. His undestroyed defilements are utterly destroyed. Finally, he will be able to attain supreme bliss of Nibbana. So now we discuss about 4 steps. So when it comes to 4 steps, he is trying to observe and examine in a deeper level. Like I mentioned, if someone heard word called in Pali the Rupa, Nam, yes. What is the mental or subjective aspects of our experiences? Like that, there are sensation, perception, mental formation, self-consciousness. So there are so many categories for that category. to mental or subjective aspect of our experience. So like that, he mindfully examine. So while he is examining in a deeper level, he will be able to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Again, Buddha explains us there may be other steps than previous 4 steps to someone else to understand the teaching and to realize the true nature. Again, neither teacher nor fellow monk in the position of the teacher teaches the Dhamma to spiritual practitioner, nor does he teach the Dhamma to others in details as he heard it or as he learned it, nor does he recite Dhamma in details he has heard it and learned it, and nor does he ponder, examine, and mentally inspect the teaching of the Dhamma. But he has grasped well a certain object of concentration, attained it well, sustained it well, and penetrated it well with this wisdom. So it means he takes a meditative object to meditate. So let's say we invite you to we normally we practice meditation on breath. So breath is a meditative object. So while he is grasping a meditative object and he attained it well, sustained it well, penetrated it well with wisdom. So in whatever way the spiritual practitioner grasped well, sustained object of concentration, attained it well, sustained it well, and penetrated it well with wisdom, in just that way, in relation to the teaching of the Dhamma, he experiences inspiration in the meaning and inspiration in the Dhamma. So when he does so, again, what happened to him? He does so, joy arises in him. When he is joyful, rapture arises. For one with a rapturous mind, the body becomes tranquil. One tranquil in body feels pleasure. For one feeling pleasure, the mind becomes concentrated. Finally, he will be able to liberate his unliberated mind. He will be able to destroy his undestroyed defilements. Finally, he will be able to attain supreme bliss of Nibbana. So those are the 5 methods which we can practice, and also one of these 5 will be help to someone else spiritually, to the person who is spiritually practice and person who is dedicated to develop their spiritual life. So others cannot, and actually he need to focus their mind to however I should realize the Dhamma, however I should understand the nature, I should dedicate for that. So that kind of person will understand the reality through one of these 5. So for that, you need specific guidance, good guidance, and also you need determination for that purpose. So if we didn't good guidance, we will lost the path. As an example, Bhante, before I start this discussion, I gave an example. There may be a lake, which there are so many beaches that we can reach to the water and take a bath. But the previous day, I and some of my friends visited to find a lake to take a bath, but we didn't have good guidance, so we were unable to take a bath. Good bath. I mean, we was unable to find the place. So it means, so if we didn't receive the good guidance, it is difficult to reach that kind of level.
You drive all the way, but you can't take. He missed taking bath in lake and tank in Sri Lanka. You jump into a lake and a tank, you get bath, And so when he went to Indiana to visit, monks in Indiana temple with his other monk friend, and so they have gone out to a lake to get a bath, but they couldn't find a good spot to go into to get a safe place. Right?
Yes. So I think, can someone help us to how did you learn the 5 methods? So I want to make sure whether they got the meaning. I taught them. I discussed about 5
methods. Yeah.
methods.
5 bases of liberation. 5 instances that we can have breakthrough.
Yeah.
Can you please go over the first method, the very first method?
Yes. Yes, the first method is to a spiritual practitioner, the teacher or fellow monk in the position of a teacher teaches the Dhamma to a spiritual practitioner. It means someone can understand the teaching of the Dhamma while he is listening to the teaching. So he should be a good listener.
So we can have some glimpses of insight when we are listening to the Dhamma talk. We can have same glimpses of insight when you are preaching the Dhamma to someone else. Because you can have conceptual understanding, rational and doctrinal understanding, but experience and realization is different than knowing the facts and knowing doctrinal understanding. So we can have that breakthrough, that glimpse, the insight when you are listening to the Dhamma talk, or sometimes when you are preaching it, you conceptually know, but then through preaching, because you are revisiting it and you try to dwell with that, and then you can have insight, right? And the other one is that we yourself, keep pondering and reflecting again and again, and then you realize, this is what it really means. And the other one, but before that,
third one is he recites.
Recite. Chanting.
Mhm.
When you recite the chanting, even in our, chanting book, daily chanting book on Wednesdays, we have a section where we do reflections on the teachings of the Buddha. Right? Remember, we say in English. Every Wednesday we say it. If we read it, carefully, every day you get some glimpses and some glimpses. Sometimes when you recite, we can have a breakthrough. And then, when you contemplate and ponder this, and also when you have a samatha object, right? When your mind is deeply concentrated.
Kind of meditative object. We can
Actually, it says that when you in one of these 5 ways, you can actually develop joy. It's a very important part, piti, piti, and then that's the doorway, and then your mind will get settled, and the body will be relaxed, and your mind is free from all the hindrances, and then truth really can happen.
I think you have to say something.
I'm always amazed at the relevance of these old teachings. And I know a lot of teachers, and I think we have some people here who have been teachers or recently had teachers. And so often I've heard teachers say, I really learned how to write when I taught writing. And then, when you teach something over and over, be it music or whatever it might be, that's very modern, contemporary belief now that, yes, the more you teach something, the better you get to know it. And that's what the Buddha taught too. So that's very good, very interesting.
I'm glad that sometimes, some people think that, what's the use of chanting, what's the use of reciting, we should be meditating and studying rather than simply, reciting those things, what's the use of chanting? Some people denigrate, look down on chanting. But actually, if you chant with understand the meaning, not simply, rote, recitation, but if you chant it with understanding, that very chanting can help you to have deep understanding.
So Monday, is it either one or all 5 you have to
One of any of 5 ways. I mean, you can do all 5, but but this is like possible instances where you can have some insightful knowledge.
Yeah, well, we channel Wednesdays, it's nice to have that English, read, because I find myself
yeah,
going just
English
chanting.
meaning, right? Yeah.
Right, and then it's nice to know what you're chanting, right? And now I can almost visualize as I chant, as the English word, what I'm chanting. So it actually is not very helpful.
That's the reason.
While we are
So we can do all 5, and in one of the instances, you can listen. You can listen to Dhamma talks. You can share, what you learn with others. In very act of sharing, you can have deeper, insightful knowledge. You can recite it on daily basis, and
But reciting with the meaning.
yeah, exactly.
Otherwise.
Otherwise, it's like reading, right? So the more, and because, I mean, based on what is going on in our life, sometimes when we have our own, daily recitation, so we recite about the inevitable of the death, old age, and so based on what is going on in our life, we are reciting the same thing, but based on what is going on, we get different meanings and deep realization of what we are chanting.
One thing that the recitation could be a meditative object.
No, like reciting the verses.
Verses could be a meditative object. That you may not know the exact meaning.
That's different way. Yeah, that would be the fifth method. Yeah,
Combination of
yes, short phrases. Yeah, like repeated phrases. Yeah. Huh?
Is that a koan?
Koan, yeah. Koan will be contemplating and pondering. Yeah, this is like, you don't have to know the meaning. You just use the rhythm of the chant and then, repeat it, again and again. So it's like a meditative object. And you watch something. And so that helps you to concentrate your mind. And then it will open the way for, develop joy and then, have, this.
So Bhante, when it comes to recitation, so while he is reciting, gradually he get the meaning.
Yeah.
I think however
recitation can be in English, not necessarily in Pali or in Sinhala.
Yeah. Sometimes at the beginning he will not understand, but the second time, third time, when we again and again and do the same way,
We understand. Have you memorized poems in Loga de Sankarava when you were in school, right? So read it again now. So those days when we memorize, it doesn't make any sense to us. But if you read it now, like I can say, Kala rasa musu bojana manaram lala abarane risilesa sarasum. I forget the third line. The last one is Palagiyavani bahuru kolam. So when you read Loga Sankarava, you will get the deeper, different meaning right now. Actually, I will highly recommend you to read Loga Sankarava again. There's a Sinhala poem, poetic, book in Sinhala, which explains a lot of these messages, but in very poetic way with a lot of examples. But it is like a textbook. No, not textbook, a required book. When you're in school, you have to memorize for literary purpose. As a part of the literature, you memorize, you study that poem. But it has a deeper meaning. But when you read them, when you memorize them, when you are small, children, you don't really understand the deeper meaning. But I'm encouraging them to revisit what they already know and read it again, and it will give a different meaning.
So even if we recite Bandeyas, like you are the Thampa, I was asking about it. Honestly, we have been saying that every day in school. I had no, I didn't know the meaning.
Yeah, we
For years and years, we've been saying every day after.
Like prayers, sometimes you just
I
say.
have no idea. So it's reciting doesn't mean anything if you don't know the meaning.
Yes. Yeah.
On his pondering on Dhamma, right? We start seeing visual images, it's okay.
Visually?
We start seeing visual images,
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
arahants or saints around it.
Yeah,
That's okay.
that's okay. And it's also like it's really nice to know that there are more than one way that we can get these realizations. Like, it's not like a one way you have to do this and then only you get this, right? But of course, you see that in every method is more like entrance. But once you enter, everything will lead you to joy, and then joy will lead you to physical relaxation, and then that will lead to tranquility, and then tranquil, stable mind is ready to have the realization. Right, but everything is like a starting point, but everything will have the same result at the
Yeah,
end.
finally, yes.
But important to know that there are more than one ways, because some people maybe maybe more good at like reciting. Some people may be good at pondering. Some people may be good at concentrating. Some people may be good at listening. Some people may be good at talking. And then, but everyone has their option.
Would that pondering, would be writing? 'Cause I'm good at, I gotta write something down. Like I visualize and write it down.
Okay.
And after I go through it and write it, it seems to
Okay, they to stay.
Stay.
Okay, yeah. Pondering is like reflecting again and again. The same thing. Okay.
So that would be part of it. I'll write that down.
Yeah. So you have a book, like a journal?
Not at work, when I do stuff, I have to, actually do it myself, right? Write it down, do it, and then.
And then you remember it. Then you remember it. Okay. Yeah.
I'm thinking of why Dhamma Sankhara at funerals, like every
Anicca
funeral, Anicca Sankhara.
Okay, thank you, Bhante, for sharing this wonderful.
Thank you for listening.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
I can give you this.
Thank you.
Okay, so Harindus, we are going to do all these 5. He's going to stay a week with us. He finishes high school. He has been selected to college. He's going to go to John Hopkins University for pre-med.
Impressive.
So before you go there, he would like to spend like a month with us in the Buddhist center. So he cut his hair and maybe he had to shave it more, I think. So he's going to stay with us. Okay, so I think we have come towards the end of the program, and so today we had a nice program. Actually, when we think about the June program is always not sure whether how many people will come. Not like Vesak, but today was great. Many people came and attended the program, and because June is also the month for many people to travel. So I'm so glad many people came. And so now let us take this time to share all the good merits that we have generated with all others. By coming to this practice, since the morning, we first made a vow and commit ourselves to follow these precepts. And then we did a lot of, wholesome practices. We kept our mindfulness in most of the activities we did. And then we did our chanting, we offered, and we made the acts of generosity, and we meditated and studied and pondered over the Dhamma. By doing all these wholesome deeds, we have generated so much goodness, so much good merits in our heart. And let us now share this good merits with all of other people. First of all, in honor of our fathers, Let us first share this merits with our fathers. If your father is gone, think about them. Think about your father and mother if they are gone, and share this merits with them. All of our departed parents and departed relatives and other ancestors, may they share these good merits. May they be benefited from these merits. May they all be well, happy, and peaceful. Let us chant together. Idang mi ñātinang hotu sakita hontu ñātayo. Idang mi ñātinang hotu sakita hontu ñātayo. Idang mi ñātinang hotu sakita hontu ñātayo. Let us also share these merits with all other living beings. If there's any being in this world who would like to share this merit, may he or she do so. May all divine beings and any other beings, may they all share these merits. May they all be well, happy, and peaceful. Ettavata che amhi sambhetang punya sampadam sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti sindhya sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti sindhya sabbe santa anumodantu sabba sampatti sindhya. Let us make an aspiration. May we be able to be with wholesome people and good teachers and associate good people in our life until we attain Nibbana. Imina punya kammine mame bala samagamu satang samagamu hotu yava nibbana pantiya. Let us seek forgiveness from the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha if we happen to have done any act of negligence. And may we seek forgiveness. May let us acknowledge if any mistake, and let us determine not to repeat those mistakes again. And we will seek acceptance and forgiveness. Kayena vacha chittena pamadena maya katang Achayang kamami bhante bhuri panya tathagata kayena vacha chittena pamadena maya katham achayang kamami dhamma sandettika akarika Kayena vacha chittena pamadena maya katang achayang kamami sangha supatipanna anuttare. We will now do this blessing chant, wishing all of you all the blessings of the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha for your good health, and you had a spiritual day, a memorable day, a peaceful, pure day. So we chant that may you be blessed with good health and more strength and courage to continue your spiritual practice, and may you be blessed with good people around you, and may you have a smooth journey towards the enlightenment. May all of you receive these blessings. May all of you be blessed with good health, peace, and happiness. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. නමෝ තස්ස භගවතු අරහතු සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස මාකරුණිකෝ නාතෝ හිතාය සම්බ පානිනං පෝරෙත්වා පාරමී සම්බ පත්තෝ සංබෝධි මුත්තමං ඒතේන සංච වජ්ජේන හෝතු තේ ජය මංග ජයන්තෝ බෝධියා මූලේ සංඛ්‍යානං නන්දි වණ්ඩනෝ වේවන්තුයි ජයෝතු ජයස්සු ජය මංගලං සක්කත්වා බුද්ධ රතන ඕසදං උත්තමං වරං හිතං දේව මනුස්සා බුද්ධ තේජේන සොත්ති නානස් සන්තු පද්දවා සබ්බේ දුක්ඛා උපසමින්තු තේ සක්කත්වා ධම්ම රතන ඕසදං උත්තමං වරං පරිලා උපසමන ධම්ම තේජේන සොත්ති නානස් සන්තු පද්දවා සබ්බේ භයා උපසමින්තු තේ සක්කත්වා සංඝ රත්න ඕසදං උත්තමං වරං ආහුනීයං පාහුනීයං සංඝතේජේන සොත්තිනා නස්සන්තු පද්දවා සබ්බේ රෝගා උපසමින්තු තේයං කිංචි රතනං ලෝකේ විඤ්ජති විවිධා පුතු රතනං බුද්ධ සමන්නත්ති තස්මා සුත්ති භවන්තු තේයං කිංචි රතනං ලෝකේ විඤ්ජති විවිධා පුතු රතනං ධම්ම සමන්නත්ති තස්මා සුත්ති භවන්තු තේයං කිංචි රතනං ලෝකේ විඤ්ජති විවිධා පුතු රතනං සංඝ සමන්නත්ති තස්මා සොත්ති භවන්තු තේ නත්ති මේ සරණං අඤ්ඤා බුද්ධෝ මේ සරණං වරං ඒතේන සච්ච වජ්ජේන හෝතු තේ ජය මංගලං අත්ති මේ සරණං අඤ්ඤා ධම්මෝ මේ සරණං වරං ඒතේන සච්ච වජ්ජේන හෝතු තේ ජය මංගලං අත්ති මේ සරණං අඤ්ඤා සංඝෝ මේ සරණං වරං ඒතේන සච්ච වජ්ජේන හෝතු තේ ජය මංගලං සබ්බීතියෝ විවජ්ජන්තු සම්බ රෝගෝ විනස්සතු මාතේ භවත්වන්තරායෝ සුඛී දීඝායුකෝ භව භවතු සම්බ මංගලං රක්ඛන්තු සම්බ දේවතා සම්බ බුද්ධානුභාවේන සදා සොත්ති භවන්තු තේ භවතු සම්බ මංගලං රක්ඛන්තු සම්බ දේවතා සම්බ ධම්මානුභාවේන සදා සොත්ති භවන්තු තේ භවතු සම්බ මංගලං රක්ඛන්තු සම්බ දේවතා සම්බ සංඝානුභාවේන සදා සොත්ති භවන්තු තේ.
Okay.
Okay, the end of the day, we can have